fitted blouse, you need the following measurements. Measure the bust, waist. We have the tight waist, the loose waist. If you have watched my video on full body measurement, you will see how I measure the tight and the loose waist. Now I will take the average of the tight and the loose waist. We have 30 in the example here. We have 36 and 41 divided by 2. We have 38.5, and our possibility to be 39. We have the shoulder. You measure the shoulder, the blouse length, the chest, half length, and as well the hip. Now, as I want to cut this, I will use freehand. I prefer freehand cutting. So for these measurements, I will measure it on this clothes, and you see how I go about it. So in this example, I have the bust to be 44 and the hip also to be 44. Let's assume the hip is 46. I'll use the hip divided by 4 to fold my fabric. Since it is the hip and the bust, they are the same, I will use 44 divided by 4 that to fold my fabric. That will be 11. Now we have 2 inches allowance to it. 2 inches, that will make it 13 to fold my fabric into 2 for the front measurement. So 13. So you can see I folded it. That's 11 plus 2 inches allowance. I will rule out the rough edge before I start my measurement. Now the length of the blouse is 25. So I will measure 25. Now the allowance for me to finish this clothes at the end of the clothes is, I'll make it 1 inch, then plus the half to join shoulder to shoulder, I'll make it an additional. I'm making 1.5 additional to the length. Blouse length, you add 1.5 inch to it, so that you can use it to finish it at the down part and as well at the to join shoulder to shoulder. So it's now 26.5 for the length of this blouse. 26.5. So this is the point. Now you locate the shoulder. The shoulder is 15, which is divided by 2. We have 7.5 plus sewing allowance. We have 8 inches. You draw it. The arm loop for the person is 8. It does 16. So divided by 2, we have 8. This is the arm loop. So you curve your armhole. So if you have armhole curve, you can use it. Then you bend the shoulder at 1 inch. Bend the shoulder at 1 inch. Now for this, it depends on how wide you want the neck of the clothes to be. Now for this one, I want to make it just a round neck. So 3, depending on how wide you want it to be. So I will use 3.5. That will be the width. And for the down, I will use, this is the front part of the clothes, I will use 5. Then I want it to be a curve. So then you bend the shoulder at 1 inch. So I've said earlier. So now you measure the half length to shape the. Now at the armhole, you measure the bust first. Bust divided by 4, we have 11. Now at the half length, that's where you measure the waist, the average waist that we've calculated the other time. So the half length is 16 plus the half to join shoulder to shoulder, we have 16.5. 16.5 here. So on that half length, you measure the waist, average waist divided by 4. That's 39 divided by 4. We have a 9.75. So join it to the bust. Then you measure on this line now, you measure the hip. The hip divided by 4 is 11. So you measure the hip at this end, then you join it to the waist. Then the 2 inches allowance, you draw it up 2 inches. You can see it on the line the way I'm doing it. I prefer freehand cutting. So for this edge, I would like to bend the edge of the blouse by just 1 inch. So it will help you to that edge will be balanced. If you leave it as straight, some of the rough edges will be coming out when you finish your clothes. So that's why I just bend it at 1 inch. So this is the front part of your blouse. Now for depends on the dart you want to add. If it's just ordinary dart, you can remove it like this and you cut the back. But I would prefer princess darts. If it's princess dart, shoulder to nipple for this person is 8. So plus ½ inch allowance, we have 4.5. So just cut do that on the waist and as well 4.5 on the hip and join it together. Then you can bend it towards the armhole. And if you are using princess dart, no, if it's ordinary darts that you want to use for the blouse, you don't need to draw anything here. Just go to your table and do the darts when you are doing your joining. But since it is princess dart I would prefer on this fabric, I will now extend. Since the shoulder is exact, you extend this by 1.5 inch. Then join back to this place. I hope you are following. So don't forget when you are cutting, don't forget that's if it's princess dart blouse top that you want. This is how to go about it. But if it's ordinary dart, you know you don't have to draw anything. Just remove your fabrics and use it to cut the back. I hope you understand this. Now cut the back of this cloth. Now let me cut the front. So we use the front to trace the back. And don't forget, please. So you use the front to trace the back. The only difference that you add the zip allowance. You add the zip allowance to it. That's all. So we folded 13 at the front. Here we just add 1.5 inch allowance for the zip. So that we are folding 14.5 for the back now. If you like, you can put, it can be 1. If it's not a cloth that needs lining like this one, You can even make it 1 inch, allowing for the zip, or 1.25, but let me still use 14.5. We have that. So what you do is just to place the front and trace it. I hope you are following. So then you confirm this. Mine should be 1.5. Now you can see 1.5. Try 2 at the middle, 1.5, 1.5 here. So you are good to go. So if you don't want the back, the neck of the back to be this deep, you can come up and adjust it. You can adjust it. You can even make it a different neck entirely. You can make it V. It can be deeper than the front. Depends on you. You can do anything with it, but make sure this place align with the front. It's very important. Please note that this place must align. No matter the type of neck, how you want the back to be, you must make sure these points align very well, front and back. So any other thing can follow. You can make it deeper. You can make it a V. You can make it up if you want it up. So it depends on you, but for this one, I will just use 2.5 for my depth for the back. So with this, you've been able to cut effectively on the blouse. So let me trace it so that we see. Make sure you watch this video to the end, and if you have not subscribed, please click on the subscriber button and click on the notification bell as well, so that if I post new video, you'll be notified appropriately. If you learn anything from this video, don't forget to press on the like button. Then you open up this place, open up the zip allowance, this for the back. Thank you.